Yeah, all the, like, so I'm comparing Sheffield and Bydgoszcz.
Bydgoszcz.
Which is in Poland. It's
Oh,
where Ben's living at the minute. So they're both these industrial sites.
Oh, like you're doing that for your essay? Yeah.
And it's at the same time, like 80s, 90s, where they've just fell into complete decline, and it's from this kind of rise in neoliberal, in global networking, as they like to call it, these networking partnerships between pan-national whatever. But it's all bullshit, because it's just about making money, basically. Like, there's no. What I've found as well, like all these projects are like their mission statement is for social revitalisation and getting people to be proud of their local community, when actually it creates more inequalities.
I've just been listening about real estate, and it only the one quote that it won't end really fever, but I wrote it down so it was saying how it's like real estate has been cutting edge of capital since the demise of the manufacturing industries, but it's essentially making money out of money.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking just then that's like the smoke screen, sort of kind of touristifying and kind of listing and not these buildings shouldn't be preserved, but in the way that it's done, it's sort of a smoke screen to real estate.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the fluff around the real estate.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's happening with Kelham as well. Like, it's all the, what was it, 20 years ago, whatever, when there were these abandoned buildings that were falling down, but the council couldn't do anything with them. They couldn't knock them down. They couldn't sell them. So, and it's the same with any other site where it's like, right, what do we do with this old grotty building? We'll turn it into a museum and we'll make money out of it. I mean, yeah.
You can't really turn a mine shaft into a luxury flat.
Oh God, did you see that? There was like the mining museum and the Tories had the conference or whatever.
It's been stopped, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's that with the library as well, wanting to turn that into a post. I don't think they are now, actually. Yeah. Which is good.
Not so much the museums. I find the museums were inspiring, to say that seriously. The amount of good information in them about the history, they're not inspiring. They don't inspire you to think about things differently. They just kind of.
Well, they can't either. Like,
no.
It's where they get all the. I mean, that's where it comes down to economics again, and how it is a smoke screen, because there's so many stipulations from where they get their funding from. There's no room for any thinking differently or actually inspiring and engaging people. It can only be this soft image of bygone days or whatever.
I think in fact, it might be a good place. It's a place I've always wanted to visit but never been to, which is the People's History Museum in Salford. That's the one that they felt the Tory party went for them, because they were slightly more kind of taking a position in the exhibition, because I guess if you're looking at people's history, specifically from that vantage point, you're taking a position, aren't you?
Yeah.
Although it's arguable that a lot of things take positions, but because it looks so normal, we don't realise they're taking positions.
Yeah.
It just seems like a normal, because for example, the BBC, because the BBC is in the middle, it's actually quite
it's not,
right wing and status quo, but because it seems so normal to be that way, you don't notice it.
So I think that's always my frustration when I go home, because of that kind of normal this is the regular way it's done, and I find it really, I find it really strange. What is it?
And I wish, so the sort of kind of the areas I'm in now, I mean, there probably is community still in places like working class community still in places like Darton and Ketchborough and Mappler. But I think because of my dad's teaching position, I was sort of kind of removed from that at an early age. Not at too far a distance not to not care about it. But kind of being this middle ground where I still kind of care and think it's valid, but somewhat still estranged from it. And I think a lot of kind of young people now are sort of kind of more. It's in their normal kind of understanding of life now to be more. I don't mean socially mobile precisely in job situations. I mean that they're not like to stay in one place and they're able to move around and they'll make the friends from the people they meet there rather than their friends having specifically a geographical central spot. So I still get that some people, their friends belong in a geography. It's just that I've always been a little bit estranged from that kind of thing because it seems still to me kind of to have its roots in a time I was born a little bit afterwards. It's like the kind of a mining thing. I wouldn't want to go back to those cultures.
No.
I mean, that's never that's the mistaken sort of kind of idea that gets branded about, which you can easily throw at people like Jeremy Corbyn when so like, we'll go back to the 70s if you get Corbyn.
I've just been thinking about that as well. This kind of, it's this like social democratic v neoliberalism. And I think we're stuck in that like, well, it's got to be one or the other. And it's like, well, both are shit. So why should we have either? Like,
it's hard to kind of. I mean, a lot of the things I'm reading, I mean, I'm really struggling with it because I think it's human. I hate saying human nature, but it's definitely my nature to kind of. When you're trying to say something or trying to communicate something, you split things into binaries. It's like this postmodern, modern dichotomy.
I suppose you have to at some point, don't you, just to have a conversation about it. But
depends who you're having the conversation. Hey, Stuart.
But I think that is true, that it's not a binary thing, and you shouldn't talk about it in binaries, but
there's still a difference. You're trying to articulate something that's different. And a lot of the courses the lectures I'm going to and optional module I'm taking, they're all about this difference between, this confusion between either difference or alterity, and otherness. So it's why people like Zygmunt Bauman have a difficulty with postmodern, because it makes it look like modernism just ended. I mean, his idea is that his term of liquid modernity, this idea that modernity didn't end, it just became more, kind of the processes became, and the way we lived our life became more liquidised, so nothing at all became kind of certain from one day to the next. Really, really good lectures, but they kind of just leave you.
What's it called again?
Zygmunt Bauman. Me and John have probably talked about it a lot. Now I've got some. I mean, I'm trying to work on this mental health strike idea.
Do you know, I've been trying to look out for all the
Jehovah's Witness stands, and they're all
that disappeared. I think it's just like
seasonal.
Seasonal.
It's too cold for saving someone's soul. Because I've just walked down. You know where the university is? Or whatever, the ADSET building. They're normally on that hill between there and the train station.
Howard Street.
Yeah. but he weren't there today. But I did see him outside Sports Direct, just trying to get some undercover. I honestly do. Like they're not about. Like they're normally like in their set spots. Like
I think they're like the autumn period, don't they? They're in Leeds a lot, a couple of months ago.
I mean, I'm just using it. I'm just kind of. I think I might. I've got an exhibition. I've got to put work in this first second week of January for this course.
yeah.
And I'm thinking of doing this mental health track. I'm thinking because it's all this idea of everything I'm learning, thinking about it. It's all about trying to bring something into the centre that's marginal. For me, mental health, even though it's mental health awareness and all that stuff, which isn't a bad thing, but it's kind of for me, mental health, mental well-being should be at any sort of kind of central point of the main thing that is tended to by any social system. And then everything else.
I don't want to forget infrastructure. We're not building any lakes. We'll just make sure that.
John's all right.
Yeah. It's always me. Our business just tendering to.
But if you have mental well-being at the centre, all those things will kind of gel.
That's what I'm trying to
infrastructure
think
and things
about.
will gel around it.
But for this exhibition, I'm going to have to base it on Leeds.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about having the installation itself, mainly because I'm still trying to regain the confidence with exhibiting. I'm going to kind of exhibit it actually in the margins of the exhibition. But try to make the exhibition, the map I made, in the shape of the exhibition space. So it looks like it kind of is in that area. But
that's really good, because that's a lot of these mission statements. They're always about like helping marginalised communities, and I do think it's a load of bollocks. Like I actually don't think they believe that at all, and they'll do these like token gestures, but it's not actually mental well-being at the centre of what's going on. It's just an add-on. So I think that'd be really interesting actually to actually have what happens when you put well-being at the centre of something.
Well, what I'm trying to get to, and it's mainly a lot of time where your demons end and your mental unwellness begins. I'm not quite sure, but there is sort of a kind of a conversation that goes on with your demons and your depression and because I guess when I kind of got more kind of things haunting me about my own kind of morality and whether whether I've done good or bad, is that the crucial thing that the left-wing sort of kind of language loses, and I don't think it means to do this, but it does, I'm trying to think, I think it comes across to people in this petition, it almost exposes in their brains their own, they're almost kind of doing a judgment of whether they're a good or bad person. And I think this is why sometimes reactionary parties are easier to side with, because they don't necessarily do that. Because the reactionary parties, well, the Conservative Party specifically in this country, seem to kind of not thrive but not suffer from their own actions that, for me, are probably a consequence of some kind of unhingedness. I mean, most of these people go to boarding school and have probably a different kind of deprivation.
You're right.
But I mean, that's trying to square the circle back to say that people who have got all the power may actually not be happy people themselves. I mean, for example, Donald Trump's hardly an ambassador for the good life. So, I'm not seeing him planted tulips yet. but how do you square that circle when these? Because there's something that came out ages ago. I can't remember what it says that the 1% feel inadequate to the 0.1%.
Right. Okay.
And because they always feel like inferior and got an inferiority complex to the 0.1%. But I thought, because obviously the spectrum response is going to be boo hoo hoo, poor you. But in actual fact, that's the wrong way to look at it. If the 1% are feeling like that's not white fancy, then
Yeah, that's my
Just grab me a knife and fork. Can I get you any sauces? No, that's fine. Thanks.
it's not the people. Yeah, it's the fact that that sort of system of wealth ain't working for hardly anybody. It's not making anybody happy.
Yeah.
And that's a difficult thing to kind of argue when, so many people are being screwed over by it. At the bottom, but I think to get anywhere, you've got to start to kind of ask those questions.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, I think people talk about needing to have more compassion. Sometimes it's got to be compassion for the person causing you pain.
Yeah.
I know that's
It's almost
hard, but
what scares me about it when I'm trying to do this. It almost sounds Christian. But yeah, I don't know another kind of way of another use of language without sounding like that.
yeah. Well, I suppose that's hard, isn't it, when you're homeless or can't pay your bills or whatever. It's like, love your Eon or whoever.
Good idea, possibly to get I wouldn't know how you could get this done, but kind of like people in high-powered situations to do sort of kind of emotional maps of the days. And Dave's idea is still, I'm thinking with Dave's idea to trying to find a day when we can all go down this canal.
Well, I know my last day of uni is Wednesday, so I'll have a lot more evenings and stuff free.
What days did we try to?
There was one like the 18th or something. I don't know if I can do that actually.
That Sunday the 18th is a day which everyone but me would be able to do. And then there's some literally around Christmas that we can all, but me, John and Dave can do.
So which one? So, I mean I was thinking of going home to Grimsby like on the 23rd.
Yeah.
But I've not made any definite plans. I'll only be in Grimsby for the 24th and the 25th, and then I'll be back.
I haven't written it down, but I'm sure.
Is there an email? So you can find
Yeah,
it?
it's one of the last emails we sent to each other as a group email.
Well, the 27th I could probably do, because I'll not have anything on the 27th. And probably the 3rd of January as well, because that's a Wednesday as well. So what's the actual plan then?
It's trying to mark the general kind of feelings of empathy and ego and things in relation to quite a few factors of the area. But trying to find out, because Dave will be good at finding the actual stats of the area. It's the economic situation and things. But also kind of measuring it by population density. So if you're doing thinking about making individual pieces, and thought about this idea of doing the sand art you get, where you get different layers of sand and you get the patterns. Well, I thought of doing that as if it's a silt from the canal, because I want to do that canal. And having these different displays for different sections of the canal, using different radio and
So what, and have them...
this, for example. So that's part of a river.
Yeah.
The actual shape of the river. I don't know about the water bit yet, but kind of having the different sorts of kind of levels of things in a kind of in like a glass thing or something. But
Then are we gonna do it so like one person's walking, one person's cycling, one person's
You want
running?
to- I don't even know. Didn't even know we're doing that. I don't think so. Anyway, I think it's mainly we'd all be doing it together. Yeah. But
So are we gonna like just? Was the idea to walk it and kind of document it, and then do like an exhibition or around it after?
sorry, I'm really bad when there's other noises going off. I completely lose my train of thought.
No,
John wants. I think we're looking for. John says he might have an exhibition space.
Okay.
Or he might be able to get used to one. I can't remember what it's called. But it might be in a cafe, Ellis a cafe in Hyde Park. But if it ain't, it's something we can use anyway, I think. And
Yeah, definitely.
and then we're gonna try and make a book out of these things.
Yeah.
What kind of? Sorry, Yuri, what kind of was your idea again?
So, well, it started off with this idea of like an art trail, but of like all the failed projects or kind of
Failed project.
yeah, and like kind of the ghost. What's the word? Like modern day ruins. So you've got like the
That one.
yeah, Sheffield Union, and you've got the ski village and Don Valley, and
And if you go back a bit further out, there's Earth Centre, isn't there? Rotherham.
but I saw this in Callum Island. There's like a project call out or whatever for someone to make a multimedia visitor's guide to the area. So I thought I could maybe look at their brief and kind of do it in response to their brief, but
Yeah.
instead of the kind of glorification of
That sounds
tourism.
good, yeah. How would you kind of make like lists? Or?
I don't know. I think I'd quite like to, like these like really cartoony maps that you get at
Yeah.
any kind of tourist space. I kind of want it to mimic that, like the bright colours and the really simple map. And be like, hey, this is so great and fun, and then just it'd be really draining.
I actually was involved in one of them. Oh,
really?
That was hard work. Just because I were an artist in Barnsley, and I think before they probably burnt the bridges. Not burnt them, but I just think they realised that it weren't really for me. They asked me to do a workshop. I got 500 quid for it.
Really?
I think this is when there was still a bit of that sort of money about. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking like 2010 here, 2011.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I did a workshop for some kids at Elsker Heritage Centre, and we were trying to do a map like that.
Yeah. Bit of a right nightmare.
I mean, the Heritage Centre might be one worth looking at. I mean, it's not failed, but
To be honest, the heritage centres are doing really well and are getting loads of money and really developing. But I think for me, like, it's not that the heritage sites are doing well; it's the motivation behind developing them. And I think it's.
do you think?
I don't know, it's just.
Because this art, it feels like that idea of these heritage centres. Would you be putting that in the map as well?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
I was thinking like somewhere like Callum Island. I don't know, just because they're trying to. I mean, one of the things with this John painting these exchange boxes, it's in response to graffiti tagging and all the like, I don't know how to describe it, kind of like lower class actions
Yeah.
and that kind of masking of the marginalised communities that they're saying they're trying to help. They're just kind of art washing them out of the area.
Yeah.
So I think with those places, I'd love to like the trail to just take people to the kind of underbelly sites of those places that they're trying to mask and just reveal it again. And it's like this is actually the identity of this place.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just some.
Sorry, I'm alright, miserable bastard. I just got so annoyed then. They weren't doing anything wrong. They just like kind of looked like quite disadvantaged kids walking past. I'm scowled at them. I just really struggle with noise. If I'm trying to listen and trying to form, and I think people, when you go to like reading at the library and someone starts rustling the crisp packet.
Drive me mad. I had that the other day. Like there's a library at Sheffield Hallam, they try and divide it into like group spaces, quiet spaces and silent spaces. It doesn't work. People are still just like eating the crisps and I'm not really good. I get easily distracted.
Is the library in the building there then?
Oh yeah. Well, like next to it.
Yeah.
I try not. I don't really use it very often. It's just I haven't got no internet at home.
You agree?
No. Just because we're changing.
Sort of met up with everybody this week. So met up with Ben
Oh,
and John.
I've not seen Ben for ages. Is it going to be like a music thing? Sound?
I think it's going to be, it might be involved more spoken word from what I can remember him telling me, but because we're on about this idea of these 3 meeting points in communication, not just in like, trying to map empathy and ego and things, but this idea that you've got 3 factors that alter the way people communicate with each other, which is environment, their, I guess, class history, social history, and their generation, and the way they meet. And because and what I was talking about it with a conversation about how this kind of second stage of millennials speak differently to, I guess, our age group and those who are kind of just a bit, especially those who are just a few years younger than us, because that educated accent where people ask the question at the end of every sentence, it's sort of gone away. It's a different sort of way of commuting now, which is, from what I can tell, is kind of really kind of losing any form of geographical base. But it's also losing any sense of, well, Ben put it this way, any sense of surprise. It sounds in the voice, mainly kind of you just have a saturation with things. There's this sense of kind of bitter irony and everything. In the way they communicate.
I had someone the other day. So they're like the international students on my course. One's from Lebanon, the other one's from Czech Republic, something like that.
Chapeltown. Oh, sorry.
International student from Chapeltown. No, Czech. I think she's from the Czech Republic.
Oh, right, sorry.
I think so. And they were saying how my accent isn't authentic. It's not an authentic Sheffield accent. I was like, what are you going on about? Like, that's like, what do you want me to do about that? It's like, I'm not this spectacle that I'm not. It's just my voice.
Just try to suck up John Shuttleworth.
And I was trying to explain to them that different areas have these different nuances and and they weren't. They just didn't understand what I was
But
saying.
what is an authentic Sheffield accent
This
now,
is it,
anyway?
yeah.
Sheffield, the way most young people seem to speak in Sheffield now sounds no different, really. There's a slight difference.
It's weird. So I don't know if it is like a conscious effort to sound a particular way, and it becomes like a caricature of itself, or if it is just that movement, like you were saying, between friendship circles that has an effect on language. Or
I've noticed the difference, even being at Leeds University, the way I'm speaking.
Really?
But in both directions, it's just almost kind of conscious. It's kind of almost speaking back to myself in a really broad Barnsley accent in my head.
Yeah.
It's kind of a sort of kind of defence. But when I talk to people, I'm starting to speak in the urban northern accent, because the coal mining areas it's like, if you think of industrial Yorkshire, the coal mining areas still have this kind of old industrial accent, whereas what I call urban Yorkshire or the urban north has got sort of kind of a unified accent now, which is a bit more it's spoken a bit quicker, and it's a bit more kind of do that in the sentence and that sort of thing, and I've started doing that when I talk to people.
Interesting, yeah. But I think you do, though. I think that is part of communication. Is that kind of mimicking of who you're surrounded by. So you could go to Australia and pick up that like inflection and.
Is it a way of fitting in, or is it a way of trying to find common ground? I mean,
Yeah.
John was talking about conversation kind of via Derrida. Communication is trying to be good to a fellow man.
Yeah.
You're trying to put that thing there, that kind of bit between, put that between two people.
Yeah, I agree. I think we are either seeking validation for who we are or what we believe, or you want to see that mirrored in other people, and then I guess you then mirror back what they're doing, and I think it is about being accepted.
I'd say accepted and accepting others. I say it's reciprocal.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's maybe this don't. I mean, I guess people who are psychopaths, people who have got psychopathic traits, probably won't.
No.
They wouldn't think that way, I guess.
I wonder if their accent would change. The psychopath's accent would change.
Probably for different reasons.
Because they have that kind of chameleon effect, don't they? So I read on like some Wikipedia page about psychopaths,
But we love them, don't we? There's a book I've always wanted to read called Why We Love Psychopaths, but we do. We love the Tommy Shelbys and the.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix and it's.
Well, more I think on TV dramas. We're obsessed with the bits of humanity in the psychopaths more than we are the bits of humanity in the people who got that more common humanity all the time. So for example, when Tommy Shelby shows a bit of kind of warmth, people who are watching warm far more to him for the fact that he's mainly a psychopath rather than they would somebody who a bit kind of bumbly all the way through it.
I suppose I think goodness is equated to being weak as well.
Yeah. You think it's down to the sort of culture we've got, or a sort of kind of everlasting thing?
I don't know. I mean, it can't be an everlasting thing because we'd have all killed each other by now.
No. Nobody likes being made a fool of by being good and having it thrown back in the faces.
Yeah, you make yourself look, don't you?
I guess in a society where people don't trust people, anybody anymore, to see somebody who doesn't need to have that in their lives and can just kind of actively kind of float through it like a sort of character in a computer game.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
a kind of a desire to sort of be that person in the reality we're in.
Yeah. So I think, you know, if you look back at especially smaller communities where you are heavily dependent on each other,
Yeah.
and that's, I suppose, trust becomes quite a natural thing. You know that person's not going to wrong you. Whereas now we're so alienated from each other that I guess trust is a foreign concept to a lot of people. You know,
I think that's why it makes mapping such an interest. Because I mean, I was just thinking. I tend to do this. Whatever I've listened to most recently tends to be the thing I relate to.
Yeah.
But the Zygmunt Bauman talk I went to on Wednesday, talking about how we're all sort of kind of strangers. We're using his idea of kind of not thinking he thinks in postmodern terms. He was saying the Jews were the first people to experience postmodernity via the Holocaust and kind of via the way they were so kind of uprooted and you know kind of became strangers in how did they put it now? But what it was trying to kind of say that the Jews experienced as a people what everybody would experience by the time of Thatcher and Reagan, where
No, I totally get
everybody's sort of kind of strangers.
Yeah.
And he said that in kind of a more solid modern period, the stranger, we knew how to deal with the stranger, whoever we is. There was either through kind of exclusion or killing them. Not good. I mean, I'm not. But that's what he was saying. And he was saying, but now nobody knows how to deal with a stranger because we're all strangers, and that creates this kind of atomised indifference to stuff which you see when you walk past people on the street. You just kind of I've got to deal with my own neoliberalism. They can deal with theirs.
I think that's it. I think our feelings have become a lot more, not feelings, just events.
Privatised.
Yeah, well, compartmentalised.
That makes mapping all the more important because you're trying to kind of create an idea of what's going on when things seem sort of kind of when people seem kind of placeless. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. It's that. I mean, that's something, it's not 100% related, but it's something that I've been looking at in my essay as well, with Thatcherism and that kind of the mobilised economy. So places like Sheffield that felt very safe in their manufacturing communities were then just completely uprooted.
Well, safety is seen as a bad thing, and safety is seen as weakness. Look at you all there, unwilling to change. Social Darwinism, I guess.
But now it's left people. It's that anxiety. You know, you might have got a job for a contract for 6 months or whatever, but then after that it could be moved elsewhere. So there's that anxiety of what's going to happen to me next. And I suppose that feeds into that. Well, I haven't got time to think about the problems that you're going through right now because I
can almost see an economy running on two different sorts of fuel. I think I read it through Mark Fisher, but I think it's David Smale, that psychologist. I don't forget that book. I think he used that term magical voluntarism. And it's this idea of people cope with situations like 6-month contracts and not knowing what will be in the future by just kind of just believing in themselves and saying, I will, because good things will come to me, and by the will of my own kind of doings, I'll kind of get myself out of this situation. But the sheer kind of anxiety of that upkeep and the sheer that itself causes sort of kind of a little kind of mini economic booms because people are kind of consuming from kind of to keep up the energy levels of that kind of optimism, that forced optimism.
Yeah.
And then the turn is about the kind of depressive pleasure seeking through the anxiety and kind
Sounds like just a normal week.
yeah. Well, isn't that how the entire economy runs? Which is why ethical consumerism and ethical stuff don't really work beyond a certain people have got a certain level of comfortability. They've got that comfortable structure in order to be ethical.
Yeah.
The people who can't be comfortable can't rely on ethics because they're all kind of existences in turmoil. God, that feels like it needs a project. I guess that's what I'm trying to do with this mental health strike thing, but it seems a bit corny, that's all.
Really? I think it's
Get in there, we strike.
No, I think if you do it well, I don't think it would be cool. I think it would be a good idea.
I was trying to put the main core reasons why I think. One of the core reasons is that I think we talk about this word ghosted.
Yeah.
And how the dominant kind of narratives on people kind of fighting for their jobs and all that, they ghost large sections of society. Whether those people, a lot of people who are in difficulties, whether they're economic or psychological, whatever, I just feel kind of irrelevant to things. That may not be having a good time and want things to change. They're sort of ghosted by them narratives, but to be fair, the Labour Party is still reliant. And unions, which is public sector workers, which is fair. I mean, I'm not saying they don't deserve help in any way, but I'm saying, but that sort of narrative sort of kind of ghosts a lot of people who feel they want to change as well.
Yeah.
And that's the mental health thing, I think, is what we all share in common.
Yeah, no, totally. Like, I think it'd be good. I think there's a lot of stuff I see at the moment towards mental health and like ethical consumerism and things like that. I don't think they are actually. I think they're exploiting the trend of mental health, which actually makes it worse. It's actually feeding into people's mental illness, by commodifying it.
Yeah.
So I think to do something like this that actually talks about that, and I think could be very effective.
I just want to know how we could exit, because it just feels like I wish I could articulate what Ben's trying to do, because I know what he's trying to do is really good. I just can't word what he said. It's on a recording on here somewhere. But they all seem to kind of. It's like they're all maps which demand a meta, kind of a macro mapping, so they can all actually work as a map together.
This is what Ben's.
No, it's what I'm thinking. How each thing that we're doing.
To bring them all together.
Yeah.